I want to ask you something. What road are you on? Are you on the right road? If you are, then you should be on the road to riches. That road we're traveling and those riches we want, that's for our retirement. In order to get to those riches, we're going to need a high level of consistency. The easiest thing to do, which also happens to be the hardest thing to do, is to consistently put money into your retirement accounts. Now, once you're consistent in adding monies to your retirement account, you're going to need to be consistent in buying and selling stocks. And that is exactly what I do. And maybe that's where I can help you. You see, I trade every day that the market is open. Not only do I trade, I also take videos of my trades. By watching my videos, you can see my swing trading in action. You can see every trade that I make that day, and you can choose whether or not to make them yourself. And one of the best things about swing trading is if you're unable to take the trade the same day I make it, you might be able to take it the next day or 2 days or maybe 3 or 4 days later. So, with that, let's see if I've got any stocks to sell today. So, taking a look at the SPY ETF index to the S&P 500, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 days of opening higher than the previous day. Now today, the S&P 500, there's not a lot of stocks moving around, not a lot of volatility today. It's been a pretty slow day, not a lot of stocks moving, not a lot of alerts being triggered. We do have some, so the first ones we'll take a look at are our sell triggers. First thing we'll do, we'll look at Friday's triggers that we didn't do anything with. So currently I have one share left. There's already a limit order. We actually had a price confirmation. If we zoom in here, we actually had a price confirmation of a crossover on Thursday. We stayed below on Friday, even though price moved up. We also have price moving higher. It started higher today than it did at Friday's close, but we still have price action, the fast moving line below the slow moving line. So we have nothing to sell until price drops below our averages. Besides, I technically have nothing to sell since I already have a limit order. So we will move now to the alerts that triggered for today, which is Unity. So we had a trigger that was actually triggered on Friday, but we were looking for confirmation because our price was actually higher than on Thursday. So we're looking for confirmation of a continuation and price moving down, and we do not have that. So we will hold off and take another look at that tomorrow. We have JP Morgan. We have a cross with a confirmation on Friday. We're still down today. Now I currently have 3 shares. I usually max out at 4. I already have a limit order for 2 of them. Now our purchase price for all of the JP Morgans that we currently have are higher than the current sell price that we would actually be setting once we set the last one for a sale of the last share we have. So we'll go in and we'll take a look at JP Morgan. We'll pull up a sell order. We're going to be selling 1, and I purchased that at the highest one is $298.67. So if we take 10% of our hundreds place digit, which is 2, so that's going to be 20 cents added to our 67. So that's going to be $298.87. So $298.87 is our sell order. We have good till cancel and in extended hours. We're selling 1 or placing a sell order. And now we have our third sell order for JP Morgan. This is just a continuation in price action staying below our averages. We already have a sell order for 6 shares. I actually own 9, that's currently 3 blocks of 3. I'm not maxed out in that. However, when price is down below our moving averages, I do not set any sell orders or attempt to sell the two of our books, because I wait to sell 2 of our books of stocks that we have when there's an actual crossover of the fast line down over the slow moving average. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at our next stock, which is LNG. So today we're looking at the continuation of downward price action from Friday's crossover. We do consider this a continuation, which is a sell signal. Now the current price of $231.10 is lower than our last purchase price of 4. That would be 4 books of 1 at $240.98. But we'll go ahead and set a sell order for LNG for one of these shares. So we'll go in here to our watch list, right click, hit sell. We're going to be looking to sell 1. We purchased it at $240.98. So we go back to our first digit in the hundreds place. 10% of 200 is 20 cents. So we're going to add 20 cents to that. And that sell price is going to be $241.18. So $241.18. Go till cancel and extended hours. So there's that sell order. So now we have 2 sell orders for 2 of our books in LNG. Now, I thought that the price would be going up from the earnings because we had a good earnings. And like I said in the previous videos, the contract that Donald Trump had made with the EU to buy, I believe, $750 billion worth of fuel over the next 3 years. So I thought, which is one thing that, the markets, they're going to prove you wrong more than they'll actually prove you right. So you got to be careful by sizing an appropriate size that's comfortable for you to invest in any equity or stock. That if it does start going the wrong direction, that if you hold on to it, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not going to really impact you in a huge negative way. All right, now we'll go ahead and take a look at Monster Energy Drink, MNST. Now we don't actually have a sell signal that had been triggered. What we have is we purchased 12 shares at, we'll just say $60.40. We had earnings, so we sold half of those. We sold 2 books of 6 for earnings, just in case price went down to reduce our overall loss in portfolio. We had price ultimately reach almost $67. Now price has dropped, we'll just call it $3 since then, which gives us so far a profit of $3 roughly. So we're at the midpoint. If this were to drop any further today or tomorrow, if it opens up down here, I'll go ahead and just sell one of the books, which I'll sell 3 shares and try to capture as much of the profit as if it continues its downward fall. So we'll leave that on the list and take a look at that tomorrow. Now that's everything that was triggered on our sell order or our sell alerts, but we do have 2 stocks that are going to earnings today. The first one we'll take a look at is Yalla. All right, so today you can see we've lost a substantial amount of our value, which that's not indicative that price is going to go down once the earnings are released, nor is it indicative that it's going to go up. You can guess all you want, but you'll be lucky if you're right on the direction of your choice in which you think that the earnings is going to cause the stock to move. So we opened at $9.06. $9.08. We opened at $9.08. We're now down to $8.58. So we've lost 50 cents today. Now that price is currently lower than 75 of the shares that I've purchased. I do have 25 shares that I purchased at $6.79. So I already have a sell order for 75 shares, but we'll go ahead and sell the Yalla that we purchased at 25. And that is down here. All right, right click in the watch list. We're going to sell 25. And we're going to sell that at the current price of $8.58. And there we go. We've got that. A little bit of profit there. So we'll say that's roughly $2 at 25 shares. So we're looking at roughly $50 in profits. Now we're going to cancel the highest shares of these 50 shares, because if price does move up, we don't want to sell completely out. If it moves up and continues the upward move, we want to capture those gains. So the only thing that we look for on earnings is to sell half of the blocks that we own. And if this triggers today, because price spiked or price moved up, at least we'll have a little bit of profit. It'll only be 25 cents. The sell order is only 1 cent higher than our purchase price. Excuse me, it's 2 cents higher. 10% of our 20th place is 2 cents. All right, so our last one that we have going, or the next one, is Archer Aviation, which is ACHR. We bought 60 shares at $11.84. Now this moved fast. You can see we bought it at $11.84. Two days later, we'll just call it $13. And then the next day we dropped, triggered a sell alert, but I wait for confirmation. And by the time the next day hit and we got confirmation, it was already lower than our purchase price. So we've just been holding on to it. Now currently we have 60 shares. So I've already got 30 shares up in a sell order. And just like Yalla, if price moves all the way up and sells those, that's fine. We'll still have 30 more to capture whatever gain if it continues. With that, we will move on over to our buy list. We have 4 that have been triggered today to take a look at. There wasn't a lot on our sell list, and there's even less on our buy list. Now, I don't want to just help you. I want to help as many people as I can. So please hit that like, share, and subscribe. And the first one that we're going to look at is Coke. We're currently at 6. I max out with 4 books of 2 at 8. So we're going to go ahead and buy 2. That's a clear cross with a clear continuation. MACD's looking strong, even though it's below the midline of the histogram. Coke is a defensive stock, so typically when people think the markets are about to turn around, or definitely when they have turned, defensive stocks like Coke will typically be purchased. So it's such a strong move, even though it's below the midline of the histogram, we're going to go ahead and purchase in preparation for the move. And we're going to go ahead and get those right now at the 70.79, hopefully. And that takes us to 8. You can see we already had 6. We already had sell orders, and once we have a cross, I put sell orders on everything just in case there's a spike up one morning or one evening. But once we have a cross, let's go ahead and cancel all of our existing sell orders just to clear those out. We don't want it to spike up and we miss a continuation of that move upward, so we get rid of those sell orders. And the next one is Netflix. I misspoke. I counted wrong. It is 3. We have 3 stocks that we're going to be looking at. We have a trigger because we had price move above on Friday, our slow moving average, and it's continuing today, but we do not have a cross. We don't have a cross of the fast moving average over the slow moving average. So we will hold off on Netflix. I could consider Netflix a defensive stock, so it is quite likely that this move will continue up. But since it is a $1,200 stock, I don't want to purchase. We could have a lot of fake outs. Fake out is when we have price moving in one direction, and maybe we have the fast moving average either get near the slow moving average, maybe barely cross before it turns right back around and turns down again. So we're not going to get Netflix until we have the cross. And the last stock on the buy list that was actually triggered today is Natera. We have a clear cross. Now, the last two shares that I sold of Natera are back here at July 3rd, sold out of here at a small profit. We've been holding these for quite a while, especially this one. We bought this one at 177 roughly, and we've been holding this for over 3 months, since before the Liberation Day, when Trump announced the tariffs. But hopefully we'll see a good, strong move up. Let's take a look at what the earnings were. Oh, earnings was actually more negative. We went from negative 60 cents an estimated, and it was a negative 74 cent actual earnings a share. So we actually went down roughly 14 cents. So this is a clear example. You can have a bad earnings report on earnings per share and still have price move up. We had a gap up after the earnings on this day. It gapped up, even though it moved down. So it opened at 161.93. Well, actually, it opened at 162, and then it just moved down all day. And today, which was Friday, and today it opened up lower than Friday, but we're moving upward. So we have a cross. We have a cross on today. I'm not going to cancel these orders. We'll take a look at this tomorrow and see if we're going to cancel these orders if we have a continuation in price moving upward. So that takes care of the buy alerts that we received today. Now we go back through our list from last week to see if we had any buy alerts that we chose not to purchase, or we didn't have any money to purchase, or the move wasn't strong enough, so we chose not to get it at that time, or we didn't have confirmation. So the first one we're going to look at. All right, here we are at SoFi. We had price cross on Thursday. We had a continuation that opened up higher, but yet price moved down. And the main reason I'm not buying, because we sold two books. Or in this case, we sold one book. We had sold another book 4 days earlier. So remember, at earnings, I like to sell half of the books. So I would have had 3 books at the time, each book consisting of 36. So that would have been 108. So we sold one book to get rid of that that last 18, and we sold both of these at a profit from our purchase at $15 or $14. And the reason I'm not buying is I don't buy unless we have another strong upward move. I'd really hate to buy right around this point and then price just turn right around, and that reduces our overall profits. So we're going to keep looking at this each day to see if we have a good strong move upward. We have a slight downward trend in the MACD line, so that's not good. If this turns around tomorrow or sometime this week and it coincides with price moving upward, then we'll go ahead and buy back into SoFi. We'll increase our position. Now, if we look at SoFi here, so what we've got is consolidation. We had a nice increase, and it's consolidating. If I to draw a box here, let's go ahead and increase the size of this box to capture that price there. So basically what's happening is, we've got consolidation. It's been consolidating since July 17th. We've been going back and forth within this small range. And typically what happens is we're waiting for a breakout, where hopefully it'll be a breakout to the upside. So when we have price move and close above, that might be the signal for a breakout that's getting ready to make another upward swing. And if it does, that's when we'll buy in. Or it might turn around and it break out down here. If we get a breakout on the downside, we have, maybe the box should be down here at 1973. But either way, if we get a breakout down, that's a signal that it might be turning down for a while. And if so, then we'll sell out of the 36 shares and we'll take those profits from these purchases. So let's go ahead and take a look. We'll leave this range box in. And we're going to look at our next stock that is still on our list from last week. We have XLY. Well, that's why we didn't purchase it, because we still have price fast moving line below our slow moving line. So I'm going to cross that one off the list. All right, let's go back to our reset to SPY. See how SPY's doing. All right, well, we've gone back up a little bit from our low for the day. Not a lot of action today. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead on this particular chart. We already have a low range in case price were to fall. It would either be a bounce back area or it would be a continuation fall through this zone. So what I'll do is draw a line. We're going to draw a line from this low here. So let's get it at our line. And we're going to connect that to the bottom of this one here, but we're going to extend it out. We'll set that there. So if price were to continue to fall, this would be a support zone that price may bounce off of, or if it does fall through, that's an indication that price may continue down, and it could continue down to this zone here, but we'll just keep checking our charts, buying and selling our stocks every day. And we'll see what happens on the daily. So for now, it is now 3:46. Archer goes to earnings. Their report is at 5 minutes after 4, so I'll come back about 4:04. Yalla is at 5, so we will not be able to review that or view that together. What I'll do is we'll at least see how Archer moves. So I'll be back shortly. And for you, it's just a second. All right, we have about 30 seconds left to check out Archer. When they report at 5 minutes after 4, no big action today. Oh, we want to be in our 1 year, 1 day, 1 minute. There we go. I was in the 1 month or the daily chart, doesn't show a lot of action. So probably about 15 to 20 seconds left. We do have some action. Price moved from 9.65, so what, 9 whole cents since the close. And there we go. There's a nice significant drop. Hopefully that's just short term. If it isn't, no big deal. Again, as I said earlier, you want to size your positions into the equities that you purchase to where if it does go against you, that it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to really be all that harmful for you. That's at least my strategy. The minimum amount of money that I put into an equity on the initial purchase is 0.5% of my total portfolio balance. That's just how I do it. It's not a great deal of money. That's why I have roughly 200 plus stocks in total. So we'll watch this a few more minutes as it just continues to go down. Right now you can see I've got $30. It's gone from $9.53 to $8.82. If we round that to a whole dollar, I'm out $30. So no big deal if it stays down. We'll watch it another minute or so. Archer is a company that is developing new air travel systems. We're looking at eVTOL, and that is electric vertical takeoff and landing. So they're basically in competition with Joby. Joby, I believe, is doing a little bit better. I chose to go with Archer. So Joby, I'm not going to pull up the longer term charts yet. When we do that, we're going to stay on the Archer Aviation. I chose to Archer over Joby because they have the contract with the Olympics that's coming to Los Angeles in 2028. ACHR. So that's why I chose to go with Archer Aviation as opposed to Joby. I'm not doubling up, even though Joby has already in Dubai. They're already operating as air taxis, I believe. So we'll go ahead and watch this as a few more, maybe 10 or 15 more seconds. You can see they're climbing back up, but the volatility during earnings is one reason it's super exciting, especially if it goes your way. It can be maddening if it goes against you, especially if you've put or chasing the meme and you are YOLOing. If it goes against you, you will blow your account up. I'm not trying to blow my account. I'm not trying to get rich quick. This is a long-term wealth creation. And if you continue to follow me, or if you choose to follow me and you choose to make some of these trades, that's what you will be practicing as well. You'll be practicing wealth, gaining your wealth and control of your wealth every step of the way by moving slowly, by sizing your positions in a responsible manner, buying and selling responsibly and consistently. And that's how we're going to grow our wealth dramatically over time. We're looking at decades, 10, 20, maybe even 30 years. I hope to be here 30 years. I'm only 55. I'm looking forward to sitting right here in this chair or some other chair, wherever I might be, and sitting in the computer and making videos for you guys. So I think that's enough for now. We'll go ahead and call it a day on today's activities. So let's go reset back to our SPY. We're going to reset back to 3 month and 1 day. And now we'll go down to see what our total earnings are for today's activities. Hey, today you can see it was kind of a slow day, but we got a little bit done. We made $136 in gains. Now it shows $23 in losses. We did not sell anything at a loss. Again, if you've seen in any of the previous videos, the accounting that Charles Schwab does is our first in or last in is first out. Meaning the last stock we purchased is the first one out. And in this particular case, when I sold Yalla, that shows me, that's where my loss comes from, because it showed it's so for Charles Schwab's accounting purposes. Charles Schwab sold the last 25 of Yalla that I had purchased, and that was at $8.94. But for my accounting, I sold 25 shares at $6.79, which for my accounting purposes is actually a $50 gain, where they are showing somewhere around a $20 loss. I wish Charles Schwab had an option where I could choose which stocks that I'm selling, but the closest I can get is to last in and first out. It's a little bit more accurate in my realized gains and accounting of losses or net gain than first in or first out. That would be even worse, especially for my realized gains, because as price goes up, if I were to sell here and I bought back here, the first one that they would account for is the very first one I bought. So that would be a huge gain, but I might have day traded and bought and sold along the way. So that would really show me having outsized gains compared to my accounting. At any rate, we're showing a total gains of 136, and that's perfectly fine. Now our portfolio performance to date, my account, we're at 15.56, S&P 500 at 9.47. So we're just about 6.1% better. So we'll go ahead and close these out, reset the SPY. Not a lot of action for me in the markets today. So most of the money that I made today is from my day trading activities. I'm trying to learn how to day trade. I've got a long way to go. This is right now I mostly scalp, and at the beginning of each week I look at 32 stocks to see which stocks I think out of my 200 roughly stocks that I have that I project may do the best for the week. And you can see them here, and you can see I had a total of 114 orders with 115 fills, meaning that one of these is left over from some point last week. So that is a good amount of activity. Again, I'm mainly scalping, which isn't a great deal of money. I'm only looking at, I'm trying to perfect a type of day trading style, trying to learn how to read the charts efficiently. But since there wasn't a lot of movement today in the stocks or in the stocks that I actually own, then I did pretty good. I'm happy with my abilities. I'm happy with where we are, and I'm happy that I'm just going to be getting better and better. So hopefully, these videos are helpful for you. So right now it is 4:21, and in just a few moments for you, it'll be right around 5 o'clock, so we can catch the price action of the earnings report for Yalla. Yeah, we've got about 30 seconds left. I'm not exactly sure. Didn't set my timer. 4:59. We'll see if there is an immediate reaction within the Yalla earnings report. It's now 5 o'clock, and there we go. That is an immediate reaction. 33 cents at this point. That's how fast it moves. That's a pretty big move for the rest of the day that we've seen. Let's expand this out. So here we've seen a fall all day long for Yalla. Unfortunately, it went against us. Hopefully it'll turn back around. Let's zoom back in. The other one was Archer Aviation. Let's take a look at that and see how that one's going. So we had an initial drop, and then slowly we've gone back up. So we haven't lost that much money, and we'll find out tomorrow whether the investors thought everything about the earnings call was good or bad. So we'll go back to Yalla. And it hasn't moved, so we'll just call that a day. We'll go back to reset the SPY. There we go. Go back to my daily chart. And we are done for the day here. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.